Okay, here we go. You would think. Welcome, Myra. Thank you for joining. You would think that because I have been doing this for so long that I check the sound every time, but clearly I don't. Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? It looks like the green bar is actually moving now, so you should be able to hear me. Good. Yes or no? C or C? Okay, now you can. Okay, great. Wonderful. Good. So everything I said, don't worry about any of that. Basically, all I was doing was introing and previewing our session today, talking about the power of manifestation. We need to jump right in because I still have 2 more gym sessions to do today. For those of you who are new here, first of all, give me your name and where you're joining me from. But in case you did not know, I am preparing for a bodybuilding show. So I will be on stage with the WBFF in exactly 1 week. It is peak week. So I'm very excited about that. But that also means that I've got a lot of little things to do. Like I'm going to get my hair done in a couple of days. I've got nail appointment tomorrow. I have got trying to get a massage scheduled with the person that I like working with, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to squeeze that in. Got hair waxing and all sorts of stuff that needs to happen. And at the same time, I still have to do my last workouts and cardio and all those things. So we're going to jump right in so we can get right to it. Thank you, Antoinette, for joining from South Carolina. Glad to have you here. And I'm ready to get started and jump in. Normally I do my intro, but in case you didn't know, my name is LaTisha. I'm a stubborn believer in manifestation. Not only did I manifest my husband, I also manifested my dream job, which is what I'm doing right now. And I'm in the process of manifesting my dream body. Once again, I'm 1 week away from getting on stage. I still have to get a gown, all sorts of things that are happening right now. But this is part of what I wanted to talk about today, which is using your subconscious mind to reach your goals faster. So let's jump into that. And I guess the first, how many of you have done a Google search on like how to reprogram your subconscious? Has anybody actually done that? Like an actual, like just trying to figure out like, how can I get myself to work with myself versus I feel like I'm working against myself. Like if you've ever felt like you're working against yourself, or if there's like a goal that you want to reach, but for some reason you keep like self-sabotaging or doing something against what you know you should be doing, that's where I was when I started sort of my quest for trying to figure out like, why did I keep self-sabotaging? Why did I keep setting this goal, but then like doing things that wouldn't let me reach it? Cami says, hey Tish, enjoy this morning's mastermind class. I was flipping pancakes during that time, couldn't chime in, but thoroughly enjoyed it. Best program I've ever been in. I'm so glad to have you. Cami is in the Path to Six Figures with us, and we actually do our mindset trainings every Saturday morning. So that's what we were doing this morning. And we were kind of talking a little bit more about this topic. We usually go a little bit deeper because obviously it's a smaller group and we can talk about some personal aspects as well. But that's part of what I'd like to bring you guys as well on these Saturdays. Yeah. So I tend to jump into, I'm looking at YouTube videos, I'm searching for things. I'm like, how can I like get my mind to work with me? Because for some reason, like I really want to have abs, but I also really like eating cookies. And I remember one time I was so adamant about like, I wanted to, get in the best shape of my life. And I was like, oh, but at the same time, here's this box of brownies. I was like, okay, I'm going to make the brownies. I'm going to buy the box of brownies. I'm going to make the brownies and I'm going to have one brownie. Okay. We already know where this is going, right? I ate more than one brownie, but what you might not realize is that I ended up eating the entire box of brownies by myself. By myself. Okay. And so it's like, I would say that I wanted this thing, I wanted to reach this goal, but then the actions that I would take would be completely opposite. Hey, Danette, thanks for joining from Hansville. So that's part of what led me down my path of trying to figure out, like, why did I keep sabotaging myself? Like, I really wanted to get in really good shape, but I can't stop eating these brownies. We know brownies are delicious, but like, especially the Ghirardelli ones. If you've never made the Ghirardelli box brownies, those are the best ones. So forget all the other ones. The Ghirardelli brownie box, okay? And so like, I'm sitting here like, okay, like I want this goal, but for some reason I'm doing something opposite. Why do I keep doing the same thing? Like, I just bought a box of Milano cookies and I ate the whole box of cookies. Like, you guys, do you see a pattern? So how did I get to where I am now, where I'm like, I'm in the best shape that I've ever been in my life. I've been able to work with myself to reach this goal. I've been very disciplined, going to the gym every day, doing my cardio where I need to, eating what I need to. Like, how did I get to that point where I'm doing the things that are putting me closer to my goal rather than self-sabotaging and choosing to like eat a box of brownies or a box of cookies, or, you know, just do what is not conducive to my goals. Same thing on the side with money. Like, there was always like, I was like, I want to be able to work for myself, and I want to be able to, to make a certain amount of money, right? I want to have a 6-figure business. I want to be able to say I've made a 5-figure month. But then at the same time, what I was doing, like the actions that I was taking, were not moving me closer. It was like one side of my brain wanted to go and the other side wanted to stop. And I could not get the two to work together. Okay. Is anybody feeling me on this? Yeah. And that's the key. Exactly, Paula. So there is a way to program and reprogram your subconscious brain and your subconscious mind so that it works for you. And so before we get into that, we got to kind of define subconscious versus conscious so we can learn how to actually get it to work for us. Cherie says, I just pulled up in the Starbucks to order my chocolate chip cookie. Please order a latte for me. I almost stopped at Starbucks today, but I'm 7 days away from my show and it's not on my plan right now. So I'm just going to have it after. And so let's talk about the difference between conscious mind, subconscious mind. Okay. So you have one brain, right? Physically speaking, right? The little mass of noodles and wrinkles that's in your head. But within that brain, you've got the part of your brain where I'm like thinking about what words to say right now, which is your conscious mind. And then you have the part of your brain that handles the breathing, heart beating, my, muscles moving. That's your subconscious. Okay. Conscious versus subconscious. And so the subconscious mind, you're not controlling it. Okay. You're not saying breathe, right? You're not saying, okay, beat. Okay, beat. Okay, beat. Like, you're not telling your heart to beat. You're not telling you're consciously not, right? You're not telling your heart to beat. You're not telling your body to breathe. You're not doing any of that. Your subconscious is handling it. Like, it's like, I got you, boo. Don't worry about it, right? And what a lot of people don't realize is that your subconscious mind doesn't just have the ability to control your heart beating, your muscles moving, your breathing and all that. It can actually work with your conscious mind when your conscious mind makes a decision that says, I want to earn more money, or I want to meet the love of my life, or I want to get the body of my dreams, right? That's your conscious mind making that decision. That's you saying, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. Now, if your subconscious mind is not on board with your conscious mind's decision, it's going to do what it's already been programmed to do. it's like most of the subconscious stuff works automatic. So it's like, oh, great. Every time we come to this stop sign, we roll through it. We never come to a complete stop. And so it's a perfect example, but like, especially driving is like a lot of subconscious is taking control. But like, that's why every time you come to that same stop sign, right, you roll through it and you never come to a complete stop. It's because your subconscious mind is like, this is what we're programmed to do. We already do this all the time. So why would I change something today? But the one day that you happen to see a cop sitting on the corner, your conscious mind says cop, and it says, hey, stop all the way at the stop sign. And you get to the stop sign and then you fully stop. So unless your conscious mind is like paying attention, then your subconscious mind is going to do what it normally does. And so most people believe that they can use their conscious mind to like just pay attention. And they're like, all right, well, I'm going to pay attention to what I'm ordering, and I'm only going to order the food that I want to order so that I can reach my body goals. Or I'm going to pay attention to what I'm doing every day, and I'm only going to take the actions that will allow me to make the amount of money I want to make. And I'm going to pay attention to, the people that I see on the street, and I'm only going to have conversations with, guys that look good so that I can get in a relationship. Like, your conscious mind can do that. And it's called willpower. The problem with willpower is that it's finite. Because it's based on your conscious mind, it is finite. Hey, Ronald, thanks for joining from Kenya. It's based on your conscious mind. So all those things that you say you're going to do, that's all based on willpower. And willpower will only take you so far. Willpower is like pushing a car, putting your car in neutral and trying to push the car. It's going to go for a little bit, but eventually it's like, well, we don't have any gas, so we're just going to like not keep going, right? And if you were to just focus on reprogramming your subconscious mind so that those decisions are automatic, so that when it's time to, choose an option for food, if that's one of your goals, you choose the right option. Or when it's time to get up and go to the gym, even though you're tired, right? You get up, you get out of bed, you put your shoes and socks on, and you go to the gym. Hopefully you put your gym outfit on too. But when it's time to do those things, and you can get your subconscious mind to work with you, it will take those automatic actions. So you're not even thinking through it. Like, these last couple of weeks, I have been going through the motions, and like, honestly, like, I don't remember all of my gym sessions. All I know is that I've been getting up, I've been getting on that bike, doing my bike sessions, getting up, sometimes going to the gym, get on the Stairmaster, coming back, eating the same thing, going back to the gym for my second session, coming back, eating again, my same thing, making sure that I get the rest of my meals in, going to bed at a specific time, changes every now and then. But like, in general, like, I'm going to bed at the exact same time, waking up around the exact same time. I don't use an alarm clock. So I wake up when either the light hits my eyes or when my body is fully rested. Or if I have anxiety, when I just wake up. And like, that's pretty much it. And all of that has been me reprogramming and programming my subconscious mind. Okay. Yes. Thank you for asking, Coach Julie. This recording will be here on my channel. I've got, I broadcast every single Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern, and most of those videos, like 90% of them, are still here on this channel. Sometimes I will pull some down to go into courses and programs and things like that. But this one is going to stay. Okay. And if you like this and what we're talking about, you're also going to like the Manifest Now bundle, and I'll be talking more about that in just a little bit. All right. Exactly. Willpower will only take you so far. So now that we know that, okay, willpower is only going to take us so far, and our conscious mind can only do but so much, how do we actually get our subconscious mind to work with us? It's the same as, like, if you keep pressing play on the machine and there's one song in there, that same song is going to play. But if you open the machine and put a new song in, then when you press play, now a different song plays. That's exactly what happens with your subconscious mind. So how do you reprogram it? I have to get my subconscious mind to work with me. I don't like when emotional things can break my concentration. Yep. that's when I want to be a robot and just do. Absolutely. And that comes down to reprogramming. So let's talk about that. So the way that you would get started with reprogramming your subconscious mind is actually starting with your conscious, right? And which is just making that decision. Like, I want to reprogram my subconscious mind. Then you're going to take that, that finite willpower ability, and you're going to ask your conscious mind to pay attention, right? And all you're going to do is say, okay, in these situations, so let's just use the stop sign example, right? Conscious mind, I want you to pay attention every time we come to a stop sign, and I want you to say, stop at the stop sign, right? So you're basically just using you're going to start with that willpower. You're going to use that conscious mind. And then when you do that thing that you know that you want to do, you're going to attach it to some sort of emotion, okay? Some sort of emotion or some sort of reward. Your subconscious mind operates in intangibles. So if you think about it as just like clouds, right? So you can't say, hey, subconscious, we're going to stop at the stop sign every time. But what you can do is you can pull an emotion every time you do that thing that you're meant to do. This is also the reason why, if you've ever worked with kids or if you have kids, I used to teach. I was a substitute teacher, and I've also worked with kids of all ages, including children with special needs, and positive reinforcement 100% of the time worked for me. Why is that? Because it invokes a positive emotion. So if the child was doing something that I didn't want them to do, I would positively reinforce a child that was doing something I wanted them to do. Then when that kid saw that I was doing positive reinforcement, they would go do the thing so they could get positive reinforcement. And then I would give them that positive reinforcement because they wanted that emotion. And your subconscious mind is like a kid. It's the exact same way. So let's say that you get to that stop sign and you stop. You're going to go wild and crazy. Like, oh my gosh, yay, good job. You stopped at the stop sign. Do a happy dance. Do something that causes some sort of emotion. It's going to feel dumb. But at the same time, you're going to have there's going to cause a little bit of a spark or a remembrance. And the only time we really remember stuff, even from your childhood, as you think about it, is because you were experiencing an emotion. There was either a really strong happy emotion or a really strong sad or negative emotion. And that's when you remember those things. So if you really want to start to imprint and reprogram your subconscious mind, start thinking in terms of emotions, okay? There are a lot of other tools and strategies that you can use. There's different processes. There are, for example, I'm a Psych K facilitator. I learned how to use Psych K and how to use that process in order to reprogram the subconscious mind. I'm not a Psych K teacher, so I can't teach it. But if you want to do more research into that, it's called Psych K. It's PS, how do you spell psych? Psych K, and I'm supposed to use this thing, option art, boom. All right, so you want to learn more about Psych K, that is it. You can go and check out more of that. And you go to a 3-day workshop and they'll teach you all about the subconscious mind. There's so many different ways. And this process in particular, you can use to reprogram. So emotion, but tapping into the emotion is a big thing. Another thing that I do in order to try to reprogram my subconscious mind is, once again, start with a conscious mind, and I will write out the thing that I want to do. So once again, if you think about a kid, remember Bart Simpson when he was in school and he was like, I will not do this or I will not do that. And they made him write it on the board 50 million times. That's because doing that, you're using your muscle, which is control with your subconscious mind. But at the same time, it's every time you're saying it in your head, you're physically doing it and you're seeing it. So you're involving more of your senses, your 5 senses. And so as you're doing that, it starts to get locked into your subconscious. So now it's you can't help but to do it because it's automatic. Okay. One of the good things that I like about going into this topic and diving more into like how to reprogram your subconscious mind is, in particular, like you have to start paying attention to the things that you are either doing or saying, or the people you're interacting with, where you're like, okay, this is something that I want to change. And once you start paying attention to that, that's what allows you to open up like, okay, how would I like this to be different? Or what would I prefer to do in this scenario? Or what do I want to happen in this scenario? And then because you're thinking that and you're thinking about what you do want to happen, it allows you to even start bringing those positive emotions forward, because you can start the visualization and so on and so forth. Okay. And then the third way that I like to do it, so attach a positive emotion, write and use your muscles to write a statement over and over and over again. The third way that I like to reprogram my subconscious mind is to visualize right before sleep. So you have brain waves, right? If you're alive, you have brain waves. That's what is it, an EEG? Yeah, an EEG measures is it measures whatever one of the E stands for, but electric, right? So it measures the brain waves. And I think EKG measures like the heart or something like that. Anyways, so when you're awake, like right now, most likely an alpha wave state, because I'm doing a lot of, like, I'm trying to make sure that I'm saying the right words, forming my sentences, like I'm thinking of my topic. I'm trying to put it together in like a step 1, step 2, step 3. So my brain is like very, very active in an alpha wave state, and alpha waves are like moving really fast, right? When you go to bed, you're more likely in a theta wave state where you're like, those brain waves are much slower. Okay. And then there's some in the middle, but what's most important for what we're talking about right now is the theta waves. So right before you go to sleep, and usually you're not aware when you're in the theta wave state because you're asleep. However, there's like this brief amount of time, which I don't know how long it is, because when you're in that state, like time does not exist, which makes sense, right? Because when you go to sleep and then you wake up, it seems like it was a second, but obviously hours have passed. But there's this brief amount of time right before your conscious turns off, your conscious mind turns off, which is when you're sleeping, right? There's a brief amount of time where your conscious mind and your subconscious mind are basically able to talk to each other, and you're getting right into that theta wave state. And if you do some visualization right before you go to sleep, so visualizing your goal, visualizing what you want to do, you're using your conscious mind to do the visualization, but your subconscious mind is basically, it's starting to clock in for its shift, right? Its shift is you're going to be asleep, you're going to be breathing, hopefully your heart's still going to be beating, but your conscious mind is not doing anything. So your subconscious mind has pretty much control of everything. It's going to regulate your temperature while you sleep. It's going to help you move. It's going to wake you up if you have a bad dream, all those things. So your subconscious mind is about to clock in and your conscious mind is clocking out. And as they're passing each other, you start to enter that theta wave state. And this is where, if you do some visualization right before you go to sleep, you can actually imprint onto your subconscious mind those things that you want to happen, that you want to bring to life from manifestation standpoint. And your subconscious mind will literally go to work on what are all the ways it can happen. And because your subconscious mind can process, it's like a super fast computer, and it can process so much faster as you're asleep, it literally can figure out the answer while you're asleep. And then suddenly you wake up and you would be surprised. Like as soon as you wake up, you're like, oh man, I've been meaning to do this thing. I need to go do this. And then you actually go and do it. Well, that was your subconscious mind saying, oh, I know how this is going to happen. When you wake up, Tisha, you need to go do this. And then you wake up and you're like, oh, I wonder why I'm feeling like I need to go do this thing, but I need to go do it. And then you go do it. And suddenly you're like, you meet this person who happens to be this, that, or the other. So I'm going to come to the comments in just a second. Okay. Thank you, Miriam, for the correction. Beta is the active brainwave. Alpha is during meditation. Theta is drowsing. before falling asleep, and delta is during sleep. Thank you so much. Yes. So so right now would be beta wave state. Alpha wave would be during the meditation. Theta is that period right before going to sleep where your consciousness is clocking out and your subconscious is clocking in. And then delta sleep. Yeah, delta would be like that deep sleep. Okay, thank you so much. There's one more thing that I was going to say before I came to that. So the video. So if you guys have not seen the video of how I manifested my husband, in that video, I was talking about how I had just gotten dumped and I wanted to hang out. Like we were at a conference and I just wanted to stay in my hotel for the rest of the conference. And I just wanted to fly home and I didn't want to talk to anybody or see anybody. Like I was just not in the mood. And I had a thought that literally said, if you need to get up, get dressed and go to the closing dinner. Because if you don't, you're always going to remember this conference as the one where you got dumped. And I didn't want to go, but I was just like, okay, fine. I'm going to go, whatever. So I got dressed. I actually still have the dress. I put on that dress, put on my heels and makeup, and I went to the closing dinner. And as I was coming out of the elevator, there was 2 elevator banks in that hotel. As I was coming out of my side, my now husband, then friend, was coming out of the other side. And I don't want to give everything away because if you haven't seen the video, you need to see it. The story still brings a smile to my face. But anyways, like he was like, you look too good to be walking by yourself. Can I escort you? And I said, okay. And I took his arm. We walked down to dinner and basically the rest is history. We've been married for 5 years now. What is it? We met in 2013. It's now 2021. So we've been together for almost, for 7+ years. And part of that is what I was imprinting on my subconscious mind before I went to sleep was that I'm ready to, meet the person that I want to be with for the rest of my life. Like I'm ready for that. And I was doing that, that process of reprogramming my subconscious mind so that like, hey, like once you see them, show me, right? And I'm ready for that. And so that thought that I had that was like, hey, get dressed and go to the party. Like my subconscious mind already knew like, oh, that's him. But I wasn't aware of it at the time. And so that's my point where this is how like I personally use manifestation. My favorite way is reprogramming my brain right before I go to sleep. And I will visualize exactly what I want. I will visualize those feelings and like feel those feelings of when I have it. And if I can't see the full picture yet, I'll focus on one thing. So one of my visualizations is a beach home with curtains. And it's really difficult for me to see the entire beach home. But over the past couple of years, I've been like visualizing pieces of it. And I can see like those white curtains blowing with the 2 doors that open and you can walk right out and see the beach. Like I can see that so clear. And the floors are marble right there. Like I'm so clear on that, even though I can't quite see all the other pieces, but I visualize that. And then like, as I go, I'm like, okay, little piece here, little piece there. At first I couldn't visualize the marble floors, but now I know that I want them to be marble floors. So it's like those things that you're doing as you're wanting to bring this thing to life for yourself. You can do that right before you go to sleep. That's my favorite way to do it. And I feel like I sleep really well. And sometimes I even have really good dreams about those things that I want. Okay, let me come back to the comments. Cami says, I wasn't even aware until now that I've reprogrammed my subconscious mind, which created physical manifestation. Yep, 100%. And because there's nothing outside of you, like everything that you are seeing, that you're perceiving is because you are taking in signals and you're translating them in your brain. So right now I'm translating the fact that there's a computer in front of me because I'm seeing it with my eyes and my brain is saying, oh, that's a computer, right? But if for some reason my brain did not realize, okay, this is a computer and it's not even a computer, it's a monitor, right? Like if my brain didn't know what that was, it might call it something different. And I know that's kind of like, it might be getting a little too nebulous or like a little too out there. But if you think about it, anything that you want to bring into your physical reality, all you need to be able to do is recognize it when it's there. And it might be right in front of you and you might not even recognize it because you just didn't know before. And that kind of gets a little bit deeper into it. But once you learn how to work with your subconscious instead of having it work against you, you'll be able to manifest anything that you want. Okay. Any other questions? I feel like this was a little bit of a shorter session, but that was everything that I had that I wanted to bring. Hi, Nafisa. How are you? Happy Saturday, Carissa. All right. Allie says, how to manifest a job that pays the same as my hospital job, $60K, but working from home. Great question. I love this question. All right. So we're going to break this down in a couple of different ways. Okay. So first thing is we have to get really clear on the actual desire. Okay. Because it sounds like the desire is working from home, but is the true desire another job? Or is the desire just to be at home? Okay. So the first thing you have to really, really get clear on is like, what do I actually want? Because sometimes we think we want something because we think it's going to be the means to the end, but you actually can just go to the end, right? So if, for example, I'm going to just do something really simple. If you're like, my desire is to turn my hand into a cup so that I can catch this lip gloss when it falls into it. You could also just like grab the lip gloss, right? So sometimes we think like there's a thing that we need to do in order to get to the thing that we want, but we can just go to the thing that we want. So that's the very first thing. Okay. Then, and you said, I don't know what the career would be and I'm stressed and I desire to be at home. So yeah, so that's the first thing. So now that you know, okay, my desire is to be at home, you can just clear everything else out and say, my desire is to be at home. Okay, so that's one desire. Then you have a second desire, which you said to be able to make 60K. Now, getting clear on that, do you really also still want to make 60K or do you want to make more? Sometimes we limit ourselves and limit our desires because we think that we can only have this thing or only have, whatever it is that we already have. So there is a potential and a possibility out there where you could be earning $120,000 in like literally just showing up and sitting in front of a camera, for example, as an example. You show up, you get hair and makeup, you sit in front of the camera, you talk a little bit and you make $120,000. Like it's a possibility. Is it something that's available to you? I don't know. I don't know you and I don't know what your beliefs are that would be preventing you from or beliefs of and your desires of what you want to do. Okay. But the point is that there's more available to you than just the thing that you think you can have. And so once I get clear on here's what I want without strings, right? Without conditions, without this is how it has to come in, like this is what I want. Then I set my work to basically aligning myself with the outcome. And I kind of hesitated to say that because I'm like, well, how can I explain how to align yourself with the outcome? But for example, if the outcome is working from home and I don't have a desk, I might go get a desk. Because if my expectation is I desire to work from home and I will be working from home, then that means I should have somewhere to work, right? So I'm aligning myself with the outcome, with the final thing that I desire. Once again, if you go back to and watch the video, the How I Manifested My Husband, my desire was to be married, to have a husband. And the thing that I knew I needed to work on with myself was there was a couple things that I won't get into, but like there were several things that I knew I needed to work on before I could be in a relationship. But I'm like, if I know that my desire is available to me and it's coming and it's here right now, then how am I not aligned with it, right? How am I slowing it down? How am I putting the brakes on? And then once I realized that, I'm like, okay, well, I need to work on this. I need to do this thing. I need to do this other thing. Like I need to be prepared and ready because it's here. But, maybe like I'm asking for food, but I don't actually have a plate, right? So you got to start taking those steps and doing those things. Okay. I manifested a job at a new hospital, but it wasn't what I wanted at the end of the day. Yeah. So you got to get very, very, very clear on what you want. And once again, if you say, I want to get a new job and still go directly to the thing that you want. So if it's being at home, go directly to that. Okay. Yep. Get a desk and a laptop. Absolutely. So that you can be prepared. All right. Danette says, do you have a money mantra that you use to reprogram and get rid of a lack mindset? Great question. Because money was like a huge thing for me for a while. And I kept, I was like, why do I keep sabotaging myself? Like I say that I don't want debt, but then I keep like borrowing money and I'll pay stuff up and I have more, like the same amount of debt. It's just on a different card. And if you guys know my history, you know that I started out as a personal finance blogger. And part of that was because I was like, I had so much debt and I was just like, how do I get rid of this? And it was like, I would get rid of it and then I would have more. And it's like, I had a certain level of like, you have a certain level. So it's like a thermostat, right? So the same way that your body regulates your temperature and keeps your temperature at, what is that, 97.8 degrees or something like that. The same way your body regulates that temperature is called homeostasis. It also regulates, in general, regulates your weight. Like you really have to enact a force against it to change it. The same thing happens with your money. So once again, your subconscious brain, your conscious mind, like that's creating your entire reality. So if you're seeing the same amount of debt, it's because you're holding a homeostasis. You're holding a certain temperature for that amount. If you're not making a certain amount of money, you're kind of making the same amount of money. You're holding a certain temperature. You're holding that certain amount steady. And you might temporarily move up higher, but if you're still holding that in your subconscious, you're going to come back lower and you might temporarily drop lower, but you'll still come to that level. Like everybody has a certain, temperature, homeostasis. Sorry, I get excited. But I also need to drink my water so my throat doesn't get dry. So to answer the question directly, I do not have a specific money mantra. My process is the same process I use for everything, which is visualization right before bed, aligning myself with that outcome, getting clear on what I want, doing the visualization right before bed, and aligning myself with that outcome and taking the actions that I need to take. So for example, part of what I wanted to do with my money was to not have credit card debt, right? So all those years ago when I paid off over $22,000 of credit card debt, I set boundaries for myself. I was like, okay, if one of your things that you do, right, every time you come to the stop sign, you roll through it. One of those things that you do is every time you go out, if you see something you like and you don't have the money to get it, you'll use a credit card. So therefore, I had to use my conscious mind to create a rule to say, like, if you go out and you see something you like, but you don't have the cash to buy it right then, you are not allowed to use a credit card, right? You can't swipe a card. You have to either use cash or your debit card, or you just can't get it. And so my conscious mind gave that rule. And then I started to do the same thing I talked about today, was attaching that emotion to when I did a great job, right? So that positive reinforcement, because like I literally would cut up my credit cards and then I would tape them back together. And I was going to Forever 21 with like a cut up credit card that had tape on it. But like I was smart when I cut them. Like I never cut the strip. I would cut like, up this way. And so I would go and it's like, it's taped together. I would freeze my credit cards and then I would put the block under hot water and thaw them out and then go to the store. So like, once again, my subconscious mind was not on board with what my conscious mind wanted, which was, I was like, I don't want to have credit card debt anymore. My conscious mind was on board, but my subconscious mind wasn't. And so I did these things first for my personal finances. I did them for my relationship. I then did them for my business because then I wanted to create and build a business where I could work from home. I did that with my, relationship. I think I said that already. And then also I'm in the process now of doing that with my body, because for the longest time, like I said, I would buy brownies, bake it and eat the whole thing, or buy a whole box of cookies and eat them all. Like there were things that I wanted to do, but my subconscious mind wasn't on board. So these are the strategies I'm giving you guys. I use them for myself in every area of my life. And sometimes I pick an area and focus on that. And then I put the other area on the back burner. Like my body and my health was on the back burner while I was working on my business. And then it was like the end of 2019. I was like, all right, I'm done. Like my business is just going to have to either stay steady or grow. It's not going to go down, but it's just going to have to be on hold for a little bit because I want to work on my body. Like I have a goal and something I want to hit. So we gotta work on this. Okay. To get started with doing a course live until I have a recorded course, what should I do? Okay, a little bit off topic, Dwayne, but we'll jump into it. To make more money versus getting a second job. You can record the course before you can sell the course before you have it recorded. Pre-sell, open the doors, launch. I do have a video on how to create a course. I have a whole playlist on creating courses, and I talk about my launch process and I talk about all the pieces and things that you need in place. So I would suggest starting there, and that's going to help you move along the path. Thank you so much. Do we have other questions? Any other questions or anything else that is coming to mind as you are thinking about this topic? Hey, Mark, glad to have you here. Things are going well. 7 days out from my show. I will be on stage next week in the Bahamas. If you'd like to come to the Bahamas, or if you live in the Bahamas, you can get tickets at wbffshows.com. If you're not going to be able to make it, I do not think they're going to be live streaming it. However, I did order the video package, so I will be getting video posting as soon as it comes back to me. Last year, I think it came back within a week. Photos I will also have. Those also came back relatively quick. My sister's going to be there, so I'm sure she's going to be doing some IG stories. And when she tags me, I will reshare those. And I'm very, very, very excited. All right. I don't see any other questions. So I want to thank you for joining me today on today's live stream. If you want even more, then go to my YouTube channel. I've got lots of playlists on manifestation, law of attraction, but also on the practical side of what I do, which is selling courses, creating courses, launching coaching programs, doing sales, all those things. Make sure you subscribe, tap that bell for notifications. Speaking of subscribers, let's feature this week's most recent subscribers. Welcome Mahogany Brandon, Denise, Ilea Johnson, Marjorie Pratt, Indigo Star 144, Kathleen Murphy, Benita Gurung, Akil Stapleton, Paul Chandler, and Daniel Fitzmaurice. Glad to have you here, and welcome new creators for joining us. I do broadcast every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. I will not be here next week because I'll be on stage in the Bahamas, as we just chatted about, but I'll see you guys again in June. Don't forget that if you'd like to get notifications when I go live, you can tap the bell. If you have made a purchase, then you'll get a text message when I go live. It does pay to be a buyer. Until next time, remember that your dreams deserve your decision and you deserve to achieve your dreams, but only if you decide to do whatever it takes to get them. So go, dream, decide, and do. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.